God bless you, loved ones. Welcome to the Word with Chester. Today we'll continue study in the 18th chapter of the book of Numbers. Today we have somewhat of a long lesson. I'm going to try to go completely through the rest of this chapter, so I will not give too many words of preliminary. But I do thank God that you're here, and I want you to know that I love you with the love of the Lord. In our last lesson, we read down to the 12th chapter, and I'm going to reread the 12th verse of the 18th chapter. I'm going to reread the 12th verse and then we will continue. But keep in mind, God is talking to Aaron and letting them know the duties and privileges of Aaron or the priest and the Levites. Well, God is letting them know what they have, and you got to understand, God set aside for the preachers, if you please, or those that cared for the ministry, he set aside so that they would have the very best. And I think God knows what he's doing. There's nothing wrong with preachers being blessed or ministers being blessed, as long as they don't get greedy and try to take more than what's theirs. Nothing wrong with God smiling on them, because he's letting them know that I'm giving the priest and the Levites the very, very best, the first of everything in Israel. They did not have an inheritance, if you please, an inheritance of land. Their tribe did not have an inheritance of land or plot that they could call theirs. Everything they got was from ministry, or from what came in through the ministry of God, the ministry of the tabernacle. Everything that the priests received and the Levites received was from that, of the offerings given. And so that's what God is stipulating in this particular chapter. In verse 12 it reads, all the best of the oil and all the best of the wine and of the wheat, the first fruit of them, which they shall offer unto the Lord, them have I given thee. I've given the best to you. I've given it to thee. The opening statements of this particular chapter, God was addressing and speaking to Aaron. And Aaron was the priest. And not only Aaron, but even to his entire family, all of his offspring, God was saying, I'm giving you all the best. And that's the best of everything. So you have to understand the privileges that go along with being in the work of the Lord. So God will give you the best, but yet he expects the best out of you. And you got to understand, you can't have that thing one-sided. You can't serve God haphazardly and expect to have the best from him. He expects the best of you, and he will give the best to you. Well, in verse 13, and whatever is first ripe in the land which they shall bring unto the Lord shall be thine. Everyone that is clean in thine house shall eat of it. Everything devoted in Israel shall be thine. Talking to the priests and the Levites. Now, verse 15, everything that openeth the womb in all flesh, which they bring unto the Lord, whether it be of men or beast, shall be thine. Nevertheless, the firstborn of man shalt thou surely redeem, and the firstlings of unclean beasts shall thou redeem. Well, you got to understand that God required certain things, the first of everything you had, and they would bring the first, even their first children, their first child, unto the Lord. But God made a way for that child to be redeemed. Well, you didn't have to sacrifice that child. It could be redeemed or repurchased. And thank God that you and I are redeemed. We are redeemed by the blood of the Lamb. But God made a way at this time for all of the firstborn of men and beasts, a way for them to be redeemed. Now, verse 16 reads, and those that are to be redeemed from a month old shall thou redeem, according to the valuation Valuation is a monetary term, or what the value of it is. For the money of 5 shekels, after the shekel of the sanctuary, which is 20 Jirah. Well, we're talking about a unit of measurement now. We're not talking about coinage now, where we would talk about dollars or the coins, penny, dime, nickels, and so forth like that. We're talking about a measurement or a weight measurement, a shekel. Now, for the money of 5 shekels, after the shekel of the sanctuary, which is 20 Jirah. Now, I have talked about what value was, monetary value of certain things in the scripture. But at this time, you have to understand at this early time, they did not have the coinage that we would be able to talk about, which was later on in New Testament times and later on in history, if you please. Well, the weight of something was, a shekel was a unit of weight measurement. And Jirah was so many of them added up to be a shekel, if you please. Shall I read that? For the money of 5 shekels, after the shekel of the sanctuary, which is 20 Jirah. Now, verse 17, but the firstling of a cow, or the firstling of a sheep, or the firstling of a goat, thou shalt not redeem. Well, he talked about certain things. He talked about a human, or the firstling of an unclean beast thou shalt redeem. But in this particular verse, he's talking about the firstlings of a cow, or the firstlings of a sheep, or the firstlings of goat, thou shalt not redeem. They are holy. Thou shalt sprinkle their blood upon the altar, and shalt burn their fat for an offering made by fire, for a sweet savor unto the Lord. In other words, these animals, they are to be sacrificed. These you don't redeem, or they cannot be repurchased, if you please. They won't be redeemed, but they would be sacrificed. I have to read 17 again for you. But the firstlings of a cow, or the firstling of a sheep, or the firstling of a goat, thou shalt not redeem. They are holy. Thou shalt sprinkle their blood upon the altar, and shalt burn their fat for an offering made by fire, for a sweet savor unto the Lord. A sweet savor, or a sweet smell unto the Lord. Now, verse 18, shall we continue? And the flesh of them shall be thine, and the wave beast, and as the right shoulder are thine, or this that come in from a wave offering, it shall be thine. The flesh of them shall be thine, as a wave beast, and as the right shoulder are thine. This is yours. In other words, he's providing and giving given provision to the priest. They have to live. They didn't have land. They couldn't go farm. They didn't have an occupation, if you please, other than working in the congregation of Israel, or in the tabernacle of Israel, and the work of the Lord. That was their job. And this is how God blessed them. The offerings that came in part was theirs, or in most or all, if you please, was theirs. Now let's read verse 19. All the heave offerings of the holy things which the children of Israel offer unto the Lord have I given thee, and thy sons and thy daughters with thee, by a statute forever. How long forever? That to come in. I'm talking about you, Aaron the priest, and those that work in the ministry, your family. I'm giving it to you. All of this I have given you, you and your family, not just for today, but forever. Do I need to read that again? For thy sons and thy daughters with thee, by a statute forever. It is a covenant of salt forever before Now let's continue reading. And the Lord spoke unto Aaron, thou shalt have no inheritance in their land, neither shalt thou have any part among them. I am the part of thine inheritance among the children of Israel. Letting them know you won't have a land inheritance. God is saying, I am your part. I am your part. I am your inheritance. I'm what you receive. And let me let you know that's the best end of the deal. If you got God and what belongs to God, you got to understand you got everything. Why? Because God is everything. Everything belongs to him. Everything is blessed by him. Or if you want to turn it around, everything is cursed by him that he curses. But you got to get the picture. Everything that came in belonged to the Lord, and God gave it to Aaron and his offspring. Now let's read verse 21. And behold, I have given the children of Levi all the tenth in Israel for an inheritance, for their service which they serve, even the service of the tabernacle of the congregation. I give it to them. Why? Because of the service they give to the tabernacle or to the Lord. You got to get that now. It wasn't given to them because they looked good or because God thought they was pretty. You got to understand, it was given to them for their service, for what they did. And God has a way of paying you for your service. I know most of the time our mind, we look for it to all come from one direction, come from one area, but God has more ways to bless you than you can ever count. But if you serve him and give your life to him, he will bless you and he will give you the best of everything. Now let's read in verse 22. Neither must the children of Israel henceforth come near the tabernacle of the congregation, lest they bear sin and die. Get that picture. Nobody but Aaron and his family or the Levites, they were the only one that could come there. Let me read it again. Neither must the children of Israel henceforth come near the tabernacle. They couldn't come near the tabernacle of the congregation lest they bear sin and die. Well, God's saying this. God's stipulating they cannot come near. Now let's read in verse 23. But the Levites shall do the service of the tabernacle of the congregation, and they shall bear their iniquity. It shall be a statute forever throughout your generation, that among the children of Israel they have no inheritance. This is a statute forever. The Levites or Aaron or his sons, they did not have an inheritance forever. They couldn't count on a plot of ground that they can go and grow things in, or raise cattle in, or raise sheep in, or whatever occupation they would choose. They didn't have an inheritance like that. Their inheritance was the things of God, was the things that God would come to God and God would give to them. Well, you got to understand now that's a greater inheritance than anything that you could possibly have, and that is the things of God. Now, verse 20.